For these 2 to 3 minutes, it was absolute chaos.
I bet you there were 30 to 50 shots that I heard. It went on for a while.
You could see Steve Scalise out into the field. He dragged himself after he was shot.
The emotional shock of seeing your friend shot, you're defenseless. We would have been his next victims.
Our lives were saved by the Capitol Hill Police. Had they not been there, I think it would have been a massacre.
A man who was standing behind on the third baseline down this way walked out to the fence line, apparently yelled out, "Are these Democrats or are these Republicans?" Somebody told them they were Republicans. Moments later, shots rang out.
Do we know where he's at? Do we know where he's at?
I've still got shots being fired. We got one in custody. We need medics.
Chaos as Republican members of Congress came under fire, practicing early Wednesday morning for a charity baseball game. Representative Mo Brooks was just feet away.
And I thought it was a car backfiring at first until I see the rifle barrel and a white male taking careful aim at congressmen, staffers, whoever he could get a hold of.
He had a lot of ammo, and I think he must have been secured behind the third base dugout for a while. It was tough to get to him.
In panic, the members scattered in every direction, filling a dugout or hopping the fence to get away.
It went on for, it felt like 10 minutes.
And there was a guy, I don't know who he was, but was out here on the field. And I guess he was shot early on, but he was just laying there and he wasn't really moving.
It was Congressman Steve Scalise of Louisiana, the majority whip. And due to his high ranking, the reason a security detail was already on site.
This is still peaceful, but it's certainly much louder, much more aggressive than what we've seen before. We tried to get through to the protesters, and they actually weren't letting me through with our photographer here. But if we walk over here, I want to show you how the police have all lined up here. You can see the guys just yelling into the officer's face here, certainly trying to agitate them.
It's just a peaceful protest. Just things get a little heated, but no one's here to hurt anybody. We're just here to just protest this BS happening in the White House today.
Look out! Go back! Watch out! Watch out!
And that protest situation now, we understand, Sam, some arrests being made. Sam, can you hear us?
Starting to get pushed around out there a little bit, it looks like, Sam.
Hey, guys, we're actually being pushed.
Step aside. Let's go. Step aside.
Get going.
Hold on. I got you. Wait.
Let her up.
Our photographer's being attacked right now.
If we could take a wide shot of where we're standing, needless to say, not the crowds perhaps that have been expected, although we're still a little while away from the big moment of the actual swearing in.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
I pray that we all come together and get past this division.
The protesters out here have gotten together a bunch of benches, trash cans, as you can see, and have lit them on fire. This has been going on for the last 5 minutes or so. People have been vandalizing cars that are parked along the street. This looks like a media vehicle.
You know what?
You can
Here
see
at McPherson's
cracked, and even over here to the left, limos vandalized.
Did you come out here for violence?
I did not. I came out here to make a point that there's a lot of people that are really angry because he's president. Because
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I'm so filled with faith.
I'm hopeful.
We are transferring power and giving it back to you, the people.
I just knew I had to be here. We're going to do so much better than we've been doing.
We will make America great again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Right now at 6 o'clock, a tale of two Washingtons. On one side, President Donald Trump shaking hands with his campaign rival Hillary Clinton. On the other, protests throughout the city, some turning violent.
And right now, buses are arriving here at RFK Stadium. You can see women piling off of this bus right now. They are from Austin, Texas.
You know, we're human beings. Treat us like human beings. You know, don't degrade us. Don't put us down. You know, we're mothers and we're wives, and we don't deserve that.
It's an emotional time right now.
It hurts.
The contrast from yesterday, the somber atmosphere on the National Mall for the inauguration, dramatically different from what we're experiencing. Let me just show you. We are on 7th Street here. This is one of the main avenues into downtown. It has been closed off because of these massive crowds. Why come all the way from Fort Lauderdale for this?
Well, I think a lot of people were just really, really horrified by some of the things that were said during the election cycle against women and sexual assault and against Muslims and the LGBT community.
Today is not a concert. It is not a parade, and it is not a party. Today is an act of resistance.
We heard it's a big boom, seen the plane come down, and you see the parachute right after that come down, land just over the sill here. And it's right there across some trees is where the plane just went straight down.
So you saw the parachute come out of the plane?
We seen the parachute land right over the top of this hill here. Yes, sir.
What do you think? I mean, you ever seen anything like it?
No, I felt like the airplane was right in my face. It was right there.
Trouble in the sky near Joint Base Andrews, and a fighter pilot forced to take drastic action.
It almost looked like it was suspended in air.
And seconds later,
the jet nosedived into the neighborhood, blew up, knocked me on the ground.
Now, people in this cozy neighborhood are counting their lucky stars.
Now, ABC 7 News at 4 on your side.
Right now at 4, a D.C. Air National Guard F-16 fighter jet goes down in Maryland.
And this right here is exclusive video of the pilot parachuting down after safely ejecting from his plane.
Then moments later, on the ground, a field in Clinton, just south of Joint Base Andrews, cell phone video and pictures of the pilot radioing for help.
ABC 7 has team coverage from the base, neighborhood, newsroom, and the 7 on Your Side I-Team. And we begin with our Maryland Bureau Chief Brad Bell in Clinton. Brad?
Well, I guess the headline at this hour is 2 bits of news from the Air Force, and they are that the pilot who ejected this morning is now home safe with his family. And additionally, the Air Force saying only that the plane had some sort of a malfunction and an ejection was required. This is
a breaking news alert.
2 big breaking news stories tonight, both from Charlottesville. First, a car plows into the crowd of protesters and white nationalists who were there for a Unite the Right rally. Hours later, a Virginia State Police helicopter crashes in Albemarle County as it worked on the investigation into the violent clashes in Charlottesville. Tonight, the community gathered at a local park in Charlottesville for a vigil to honor the lives lost and those injured during the violent clashes. A 32-year-old woman died when that car plowed into the crowd. Her death is now being investigated as a murder, and tonight the driver is in custody. Our Q McCrae is live in Charlottesville with more on this breaking news and what he just found out about that driver. Q?
Yeah, that's right, Kim. We just got the information confirmed, and here is a picture of the man we're talking about. His name, James Fields Jr. of Ohio, 20 years old. And you'll notice the investigators here behind me. They say Fields is responsible for this crime scene and tons of heartache. A car plowing into a crowd, protesters clashing. This was the chaotic scene in Charlottesville, Virginia. 20-year-old James Field Jr. of Ohio was arrested for ramming a car into marching counter-protesters, killing one and injuring at least 24 more. President Donald Trump addressed the nation about the violence.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides.
Petty Officer Zaldi Sabino served in the Navy and Naval Reserve starting in 1985, but it was ethnic cleansing and sniper fire he saw while deployed in 1999 in Bosnia that has haunted him for years.
The thought process of killing myself, it's always there.
It took Sabino a while to admit he had post-traumatic stress disorder.
When I was diagnosed with PTSD, It took me almost 10 years to submit myself to VA and say, look, can you help me?
Memories echoed by Sabino's wife.
If this doesn't, change, we might as well not be together. I don't want the kids to be subjected to this.
His private doctor wrote to the VA backing him up. He had PTSD, but the VA disagreed, denying his disability claim. To add insult to injury, the VA sent Sabino a bill for more than $22,000. Why? The VA didn't explain. 7 on Your Side got involved, hit the phones to get answers for Sabino.
Mr. Sabino, good to see you. 7 on Your Side has some news that could change your life.
We handed Sabino the response the VA sent us.
VA investigated this and identified an error. As a result, a service connection for PTSD will be granted with an effective date of December 22, 2016. Oh my goodness.
The VA admitted to making an error in Sabino's case and will pay him some, but not all, of the back disability he claimed. We asked for an audit, and sure enough, one came back saying the VA now owed Sabino $13,000 in pension and disability payments. Sabino wasn't alone. Veterans groups alerted lawmakers of other former service members getting large bills, only to have them knocked down after disputing the charges.
7 on Your Side went to Congress to get answers for Zaldy Sabino and veterans nationwide.
We found the VA Director of Debt Management, the group sending Sabino the bills, at a House Veterans Affairs Committee hearing. We showed her the letters her office sent to Sabino and asked why the accounting kept changing.
Sorry for the
Okay, I'm sorry. I have to leave.
7 on Your Side, determined to get answers, walked with the director down the congressional hallway.
What would you say just to veterans who maybe feel just confused and lost about what's going on?
I need to know what they're confused and lost about.
Just confused and lost about how much they owe, because those numbers are going all over the place.
They need to use the contact information on the letters they receive and contact the Veterans Affairs.
Those answers weren't good enough for the committee chairman.
This is why we have this hearing. And the reason we're having this hearing is that we're looking at this. We've got the best technology. Why in the world isn't it implemented, and why aren't we using common sense with a lot of it?
The I team obtained this shocking video showing a man in the 2nd District breaking into a car in broad daylight. You can't walk very far along these streets and not run into frustrated residents who say they're noticing an alarming rise in smash and grabs.
I see broken glass from cars every single day when I walk my dog. It's constant, it's at all different streets, and it's almost impossible to catch people because it's so fast.
DC police data show in the 2nd District so far this year, 618 thefts from autos, a 22% drop compared to the same time last year. What the data doesn't include, how many of those thefts are smash and grabs? So after seeing this daring daylight theft, we set up our own bait car with multiple cameras, tossed in a laptop computer and some ABC 7 News swag, plus a note in a black bag.
Bad guy. See you on ABC 7 News at 11, smiley face.
It didn't take long for 2 men to spot our black bag in the front seat of our decoy car and strike. While we're alerting police, the same 2 men come back and drive right by us.
Those are the guys right there.
Police pulled them over, both arrested for theft from a vehicle and destruction of property. Our laptop tossed just a few feet away from their car and our black bag removed from their vehicle. They're issued a citation and are now back on the street. If convicted, they face up to 180 days in jail and a $1,000 fine.
Can you tell me why you broke into our vehicle?
Sir, not right now. It's a pending investigation as of right now, so we'll take it from here.
24 hours later, we're back with our bait car again on the same street. In less than 15 minutes, 2 men shatter our window and take off with their bag.
I think there should be harsher penalties for the offenders.
2nd District Commander Melvin Gresham says many smash and grab thieves in the district have a history of robberies and, if convicted, are ordered by the court to stay away from the neighborhood where they committed the crime. The I-Team wants to know, if we're so successful with our bait cars, why aren't DC police using decoy cars too?
We haven't used bait cars in some time, but you'd have to speak with our legal counsel as to the reason why we don't use that more frequently.
We ran the numbers, and it appears 7 on your side and D.C. police are making a difference. One big change after our first story, D.C. police all over the 2nd District neighborhood. Officers next to our vehicle, walking by, and on bike patrol. Since our original investigation first aired in May, thefts from autos in this district, the 2nd District, have decreased by 24% compared to last year. If you look across the city, in Washington, D.C., we've seen a 16% decrease.
I'm gonna try one.
It took 43 years for Donna Massey-Wysong to get to this point, a DNA kit.
And possibly learn more about maybe my birth family.
Back in February of 2016, 7 on Your Side discovered details about Donna's birth. Abandoned, left in a dirty towel, red yarn around her navel near the Marine Hospital in Norfolk. But nothing about her birth parents, who were never found.
I did question how someone could leave a baby that was just born on the side of a road in a dirty rag in the middle of winter.
Half the time babies left like that don't survive, according to the Save Abandoned Babies Foundation. The ones who do are called foundlings, a passion for genealogical investigator Angela Trammell.
It's rewarding to be able to give them that gift of identity.
Trammell reached out to 7 on Your Side after seeing our first report. We connected her to Donna, who needed 9 months to summon the courage to take that DNA test. Immediately, it showed that one of her parents was Irish.
100% Irish. 100% Irish.
And that became an important clue.
It really solved the case.
In January, it led to relatives who identified her birth mother and father. And then on St. Patrick's Day, a match for a sister, 11 months younger, an Irish twin, incredibly, also abandoned.
You have a full sibling. I'm like, this is a joke. So it was true. It was true.
18 miles from Donna's abandonment, Vanessa was left in Virginia Beach in a cardboard box. A door-to-door encyclopedia salesman thought he heard a kitten when he looked down and saw the newborn. The sisters bonded instantly by phone, text, and Facebook. Days later, they booked a flight. And 7 on Your Side cameras were there when the long-lost sisters met for the first time.
Hi!
Love you.
How are you doing?
Love you. I missed you.
But a cloud hung over the happy reunion. Hours earlier, Vanessa got a message from their biological mother, threatening to call police if they contacted her. The painful part for Vanessa, she's been told she looks and sounds just like the woman who left them.
Because if anything, I want to be is a good wife and a good mama, and that this person is, I don't want to be even thought of as being like this person.
So will they ever meet her?
She doesn't care about us, so no, she will never get to meet us. I'm not crying about her. It's just, it's a lot to get.
Over 3 days, they caught up on 4 decades without each other, pairing nearly identical baby pictures, marveling that by pure coincidence, they chose to do the DNA search weeks apart, and finding out they also have a brother.
Oh my God, I'm so happy. This is the best thing ever. I mean, I feel bad for people that were abandoned in the past because they could never, this would have never happened.
Now the sisters plan to move their families closer together, back to the beach, where both had been left, where both are now found.
In this capital city of marble monuments, visionaries cast a shadow long and wide. Here, enduring memorials like the wall remind us that out of loss there can be healing for those who return from war forever changed.
Hi, I'm Mike Walsh, and I served in Vietnam from April 1967 to April 1968.
For the first time in decades, Mike Walsh of Germantown, Maryland, recently dusted off his old projector. He's looking at pictures he took while serving in Vietnam. This 19-year-old Army specialist operated a boat that ferried supplies up and down the Mekong River, an often harrowing assignment.
We received our fair share of fire from the shore.
It's what happened to Walsh on the very day he went home that still haunts him.
There's a slide in there of a place where we used to go when we were off duty. And the day I left, it was hit pretty hard. And I don't know what the total number of guys killed was, but 4 guys that I had had lunch with that day were dead. That question has run through my mind 1,000 times since. Why did I get to go home early? And these guys didn't.
Walsh returned stateside to a nation in turmoil. To distance himself from what would turn out to be significant PTSD that he still struggles with, Walsh made a decision he regrets. He threw away everything: his military uniforms, medals, dog tags, boots, and even the letters he sent home to his mother.
I just wanted nothing to do with it. I wanted to put Vietnam behind me, forget about it, never think about it again, and move on. Of course, at that time, I didn't know I had PTSD, and I didn't know I had diabetes, and I didn't know I had kidney disease. I just wanted to move on with my life and forget that that ever happened.
His significant health struggles now, the result of his unknowing exposure to Agent Orange during the war. Mike Walsh would discover that he could not undo the residue of war, but he did find a way to cope. For years, he refused to go to the wall, but when he did, he touched the names of his 4 friends killed so long ago, which convinced him to begin a journey of healing.
I'm telling the rest of the story, if you will.
When Walsh retired from teaching in 2009, he embarked on a photographic pilgrimage to Vietnam War memorials.
Yeah, it's why I get up in the morning. This is what I do.
His first picture, Mississippi. From there, he's been to Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, and beyond. His favorite, Missoula, Montana. He believes the angel lifting up this dead soldier is also a fallen comrade.
I've always insisted that he's one of us. He's a vet. He's one vet bringing another one. I have been to all 50 states. I've been to most states at least twice, some states 3 or 4 times. And I've taken 62,000 photographs.
His blog, A Means to Heal, features nearly 600 memorials photographed in the last 8 years.
I know that it's helped me, and I hear from vets all the time who say that it's helped them.
One veteran wrote to Walsh, "I've been in therapy for PTSD for longer than I care to remember, but after seeing your site, I know I'm going to get well."
I try to prep myself. It's always emotional.
Mike Walsh recently had one final emotional hurdle that took him morning, noon, and night to clear. For all these years, he's avoided the memorials closest to his heart.
We're headed over to the University of Maryland, my alma mater.
The memorial nestled behind UMD's chapel.
It's over here. I see it.
Reminds him of a painful and complicated time. He attended this university right after the war and was not always made to feel welcome.
I understood, I think, some of what the students were feeling. Nobody knew why we were in Vietnam. This site is dedicated to the people whose lives were touched by the fire of the Vietnam War. I've never quite heard that phraseology before, and I really like it.
Oddly enough, the memorial with the deepest impact on Mike Walsh's life hangs inside his elementary school in Silver Spring.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning.
It's down a hallway he has not walked in more than 50 years.
We went to kindergarten right down the hall here.
This is where he met his first friends, guys like John Liverman, Kevin Coyne, and Frank Streaks.
Oh my goodness.
Those were the classrooms with the chairs?
Yeah.
Desks?
Yeah.
But the sweetness of this day sits beside sorrow.
Show me where this plaque is.
Due to the name etched on a small but significant memorial installed here in 1968.
Oh, right here, I see it. Okay. Oh boy, this is dark, isn't it? So this memorial is to Frank Streaks. We called him Trippy. And he was a classmate of mine. He was a Marine. He was killed in Vietnam. The first one of my classmates to die there. Get a close-up of his face here.
Several months after Frank Streaks was killed, Kevin Coyne lost his life. John Liverman died in Vietnam as well.
These were guys I grew up with. These were my neighborhood friends. And to come back all these years later, and this is much more emotional than I expected it to be. This is your childhood being destroyed as far as I'm concerned. I spent yesterday at the VA working on issues that 50 years later are still a problem. Oh, that's good.
So Mike Walsh copes the only way he knows how, by pushing on.
It teaches you how fragile life is.
Some suspect there may be 2,000 Vietnam veteran memorials in America. No one knows for sure. Mike Walsh intends to find out. So we never forget the sacrifice of young men like John, Kevin, and Frank.
And I'm not done. If I can continue to find them, I'll keep going to get them as long as I'm able.
Our second one has Leesburg there in the crosshairs, and I do want to time this one out for you, moving just at 20 miles per hour, so not too quickly, but what we'll have to watch for is Leesburg right around 6:33 for that storm to continue dropping off to the southeast. Now, anywhere on this line of storms, things are going to intensify quickly and can also fade out pretty quickly, so we'll have to watch these really closely. We also want to bring you some new video tonight out of Fauquier County, where the National Weather Service has confirmed an EF0 tornado touchdown in Broad Run yesterday. This is now the third confirmed tornado in our area in a little less than 3 weeks. Ryan Hughes is on the scene now surveying the damage, and Ryan, more headed that way.
And rain is the last thing that anybody wants out here, Josh. This tornado was only on the ground for about 3 minutes, but it tore a path of destruction more than a mile long. And take a look at some of the damage that we've come across today. And look how close this tree came to almost landing on top of that home. Families tell me they had to take cover knowing this tornado was headed right towards them. Another week. Another round of wild weather.
Sounded like a freight train coming.
The National Weather Service confirming an EF0 tornado touched down in Broad Run Friday evening.
God was with us. That's the only thing that I can say.
The storm's heavy winds toppling trees and crushing cars on Beverly Mills Road.
Came right across the top right here. And
well, tonight there's a metal gate protecting the business, but all that personal information, all those documents were strewn all out here in the middle of the public, unprotected.
The second we arrived. Hey guys, just curious, do you guys work here? We found people perusing customers' personal information.
Is that yours?
Nah, this doorway trash. The files were literally spilling onto the sidewalk right in front of Speedy Tax Service on busy H Street.
I think it's really crazy, really.
Names, social security numbers, and the rest of the ingredients a criminal would need to steal your identity.
You guys better get somebody over here right away.
7 on your side called the police, and officers rushed over.
In the about 20 minutes that we've been out here, people have already been trying to pick stuff up. We tried to guard it.
MPD guarded the files and supervised these crews to secure the documents. This customer is furious.
I will sue them if my identity is being used.
Do you know what happened? Did they let you know that this was happening?
My daughter saw it on Facebook. I told her that I would drive through.
ABC7 tried to track down Speedy Tax Service's owner, but none of the numbers we found worked. We also called district and federal officials who tell me they're working to find out how this happened.
I'm going to sue them if somebody find my identity. I tell you that.
Officials couldn't tell us what's going to happen with those documents or if anyone's going to be facing any criminal charges for any of this. Of course, we're going to keep working to track down those answers.
Well, it is the story going viral on social media. Biscuit the dog missing from a home in Southeast. D.C. police, even the mayor, Murrow, used the hashtag Find Biscuit. Well, look at what happened tonight. We have a heartwarming update for you because Biscuit is back home. Jay Korf live now with the reunion you will see only on 7. This is fantastic, Jay.
Yeah, wow. I cannot stop watching this video. So this family obviously heartbroken for most of the day when Biscuit went missing. Now, tears of joy.
Oh my God.
To understand why 7-year-old Reagan Turner and her mother Daria are crying tears of elation at 9 p.m., we need to take you back several painful hours when their beloved dog Biscuit ran off.
At first, I couldn't control myself. I'm just like frantic.
Daria let the family labradoodle out Wednesday afternoon in their fenced-in yard in southeast Washington. When she checked on him several minutes later, he was gone.
I mean, the world can be heartless sometimes.
Their home surveillance video shows a man walking by their back gate trying to let Biscuit out. Then the man walks around the front, opens the gate, and out goes Biscuit.
It doesn't matter how cute they are. You cannot take a dog from their family.
This time of year is especially meaningful for Reagan because Biscuit was her surprise Christmas gift 2 years ago.
The saying, Merry Christmas, probably not going to be true this year.
As we were leaving the interview, 2 strangers walked up with, guess who?
Biscuit!
They say they found Biscuit wandering several blocks away, read the address on his tag, and escorted him home.
I'm just glad that somebody found him and returned him safely. I'm just so happy. I was like, I heard him. When I heard that bark, I knew it was Biscuit immediately.
Now what's Christmas going to be like?
Christmas is going to be merrier than ever.
All right, ladies, over here. Good save.
There are few team sports
And can you, on that third touch, connect with your teammates?
that require as much synergy as soccer,
Look up before you pass.
where body and ball move in harmony to achieve success.
Well, we have 24 girls. It's a big team. Keep it, keep it.
For South County girls soccer coach Nina Pannoni,
I haven't seen any jealousy or any kind of negativity.
creating chemistry came easy this season
I'm Allie Perez. I'm Caroline Perez.
because that unifying concept of family
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're with them?
took care of itself.
Brady Barty. Lauren Barty. I'm Sarah Friday. Emily Friday.
I mean, I've seen like one set of sisters. I don't even know if I've seen 2 sets of sisters.
It's kind of crazy.
The Stallions don't have 1, 2, 3, or even 4 sets of sisters.
I'm Carrie Yoon. I'm Chloe Yoon.
They have 5. You heard right. 5.
I've never seen that before. Everybody was surprised. 5 sisters on the team.
Chloe, Carrie, Catherine, Caroline, Emily, Allie, Brady, Sarah, Lauren.
Can you stand on your tiptoes?
No.
Please? Thank you.
Are my toes in this?
You can't coach or teach the kind of inherent trust these young women have in each other.
I'd say over this past year we've gotten closer because of soccer.
The bonds of biology, from sharing a cherished life together, have created a cohesiveness you simply won't find anywhere else.
It's just having a friend always with you. Everyone on this team is really close. We just play well together.
That they do.
Now the starting lineup for your Stallions.
At a recent home game against the Woodson Cavaliers,
Number 12, Ellie Perez.
you did not have to look closely to see a unique starting lineup.
Number 14, Caroline Perez.
Nervous parents
Come on, White, let's go!
watched as Woodson, a clearly stronger team, controlled the ball for most of the game.
Oh, have it, have it. Oh, rats.
But South County somehow held on for a tie.
I'm Tracy Friday. My daughters are Emily and Sarah.
Parents say that's a credit to tenacity and togetherness.
Don't you think they get along?
I do. I think the most important part of this is just their bonding and being friends.
It's so unusual.
Kevin Corsini says the thrill for team parents is oddly enough represented by two things.
One team and there's 5 sets of siblings on it. I'm like, and then it's 1 year. That's very unusual.
The girls enjoy this bonding experience more than they imagined.
It's brought our kids closer together because now they kind of get each other.
And their moms and dads cannot imagine a more convenient way to watch their daughters play.
There's not many parents that can go through what we're going through right now.
Jake Wolf for ABC 7 Stories.
This is kind of why you live. I mean, it's kind of cool.
Few of America's 35,000 plus high schools ever march in an inaugural parade.
To me, it's just an amazing experience. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Put your horns up, please.
But at Frankfort High in Mineral County, West Virginia,
Concert F, down in half steps, please. Mark.
Friday will be the second time in a row.
To be selected the first time, I thought was a rarity, and then to go a second time was like, wow.
1, 2, 3. It's just a little town in West Virginia. It's not a big city or anything.
But most of the schools you're going to see at this parade, they probably have enrollments much, double, triple what we have.
This is Frankfort High performing in 2013.
I found out they're going to an inaugural parade. I'm like, oh, that would have been so awesome to do.
Trombone player A.J. Christ was in 8th grade. Now, as a senior, he will get to do it, along with 73 other band members.
Now, they'll be performing for a new president who is very popular, not just in West Virginia as a whole, but especially here in Mineral County. Donald Trump actually won nearly 4 out of every 5 votes here. Now, compare that to 4 years ago when they played for President Obama. He only won about 1 out of every 4 votes here.
But band members say the political side isn't what matters.
It's the president, no matter who they are. We're marching in front of them. It's the respect for them.
In Short Gap, West Virginia, Tom Rousey, ABC 7 News.
Huge salaries, security, and a chauffeur. Celebrities? Nope. Some of your local officials.
Wow.
Seems excessive. That's what 7 on Your Side thought too. From salaries to car allowances, we reveal just how much these necessities are costing you.
To the average citizen, this kind of difference in compensation just seems irrational.
DC, Maryland, and Virginia. We tally the taxpayer bill and reveal the top 3 most expensive elected officials. Pricey perks. Tonight on ABC 7 News at 11.
Hard work, making an honest living. It is the American way of life. It's who we are. So when somebody flat out lies to you or takes advantage of a loved one, ABC 7 News promises to stand with you, fight together with you, and hold the bad guys accountable for trying to run a game on you. We're going to call them out when nobody else will. A person is only as good as their word, and our word is our bond. Give us a try. We're ABC 7 News, and we're on your side.
400 block of East Murrow Avenue. I still got shots being fired.
For at least 2 to 3 minutes, it was absolute chaos.
I got to look at the shooter who was just behind the backstop.
Our lives were saved by the Capitol Hill Police. Had they not been there, I think it would have been a massacre.
Right now, Congressman Steve Scalise is in critical condition after this morning's shooting in Alexandria.
Two Capitol police officers, a staffer and a lobbyist were also hit when those shots rang out just after 7 a.m.
They were all here at this Alexandria baseball field practicing for tomorrow night's congressional baseball game.
And we have team coverage of the shooting tonight, from the Hill to the hospitals to Illinois, where the man who started shooting was from. Let's start, though, with Chief Political Correspondent Scott Thuman. He joins us from Delray. Scott?
Yeah, Nancy, just behind me, you can see that the ball field is still taped off. Plenty of authorities, investigators, both local and federal, are here on site. And we say federal because the attack took place against members of Congress and their colleagues. It's a federal crime. That means the FBI is in charge. They plan to have a news conference in just about 30 minutes time, just around the corner from us. And we'll be listening very closely to see what, if any, political motivations may have had to do in this really charged timing.
I still got shots being fired. We got one in custody. We need medics.
Chaos as Republican members of Congress came under fire practicing early Wednesday morning for a charity baseball game. Representative Mo Brooks was just feet away.
And I thought it was a car backfiring at first until I see the rifle barrel and a white male taking careful aim at congressmen, staffers, whoever he could get a hold of.
He had a lot of ammo, and I think he must have been secured behind the third base dugout for a while. It was tough to get to him.
In panic, the members scattered in every direction, filling a dugout or hopping the fence to get away.
It went on for, it felt like 10 minutes.
And there was a guy, I don't know who he was, but was out here on the field. And I guess he was shot early on, but he was just laying there and he wasn't really moving.
It was Congressman Steve Scalise of Louisiana, the majority whip. And due to his high ranking, the reason a security detail was already on site.
It could have been much worse, even a massacre, some members who were here say, if Capitol Police had not quickly jumped into action. They say maybe none of them would be alive.
In an extensive exchange of gunfire, 2 of the officers were shot and the suspect, James Hodgkinson, killed. ABC News says the 66-year-old is from Illinois but had been living in Alexandria for the past few months. A Facebook page that appears to be his indicates he is a member of an online group called Terminate the Republican Party.
We may have our differences, but we do well in times like these to remember that everyone who serves in our nation's capital is here because, above all, they love our country.
U.S. Capitol Police, as you might imagine, sending out advice and an alert to all of the members, essentially saying if you see something, say something, knowing that threats need to be taken very, very seriously at this time. Last note to point out from here at the ball field, Congressman Joe Barton was one of the members on the field today. He had brought his young son to watch practice, and he was in the dugout with many others as they were seeking protection, and kind of put him underneath the bench there in the dugout, and everyone was trying to protect him. He said, I had 25 fathers that day, not just one. So you can see some of the perspective here. As for moving forward, it was Joe Barton who said that they will be playing tomorrow night regardless of what happened here today. Quote, it's play ball. Back to you.
Scott, incredibly touching there. Thank you very much. Meantime, Congressman Scalise is the majority whip, and as third in line for House leadership, he gets a security detail. Now, security was increased today, both on the Capitol building behind me and in the House and Senate office buildings in the minutes after today's shooting. Stephen Cheetah also joining us from the Hill with reaction from today. Stephen?
And Nancy, security always tight around the U.S. Capitol, but today, especially in those moments after we learned of the shooting, it grew dramatically more intense.
They stepped it up outside the U.S. Capitol, while inside they strode into a briefing on the shooting at a congressional baseball practice. Congressman Joe Barton's voice cracking at times when describing the scene.
Our prayers are for the people who were wounded, and our thanks are to the police officers who attacked. I can't emphasize this enough. They attacked the shooter, and that saved our lives. Thank you.
And in doing so, got injured themselves. It's remarkable heroism.
Calls for unity echoed through the Capitol as word spread of the shooting. And Congressman Jeff Duncan, who attended the practice, recounted his conversation with the man who opened fire just moments before the bullets flew.
I know what he asked me. I know how I answered. I know what happened. And I'm going to take it that he was targeting Republicans this morning by shooting Republican baseball team on the field.
Despite the strong security presence, tourists still flocked to the Capitol. In the hours after the shooting, guards hurried visitors into the building once they cleared security. One guard saying he wanted to make sure the area was as clear as possible if someone opened fire.
I'm shaken up. My colleagues were targeted today by somebody that wanted to kill them.
Now, that intense security and the anxiety that gripped the U.S. Capitol today appeared to diminish as we learned more about the gunman here, and more people became convinced or began to believe that perhaps this was the work of an individual and not some kind of organized attack. Reporting live, Stephen Cheetah, ABC 7 News.
Stephen, thanks very much. And James Hodgkinson, witnesses say that he just came out here, put a bag down, asked somebody through the fence, is this the Republicans or the Democrats playing? They said the Republicans, went back to his bag. That's when he pulled out the long rifle. Everybody's asking why. What was it about the 66-year-old man where he wanted to take out his anger or frustration in the form of violence against Republicans? Our senior investigator, Lisa Fletcher, has been looking into his background all day long. She joins us now with what she uncovered. Lisa?
Well, Jonathan, you know, in these situations, you can't possibly get into the shooter's head. But what we do find that is very common is that friends and neighbors say he was a very nice guy. And that seems to be the case here with Stephen Hodgkinson as well. But we found some things happening in his personal life that may have caused some problems, along with his deeply agitated state about U.S. politics.
66-year-old James Hodgkinson ran a home inspection business for more than a decade, but dissolved the company, JTH Services, at the end of last year. A neighbor told us Hodgkinson left his wife, and they hadn't seen him for some time. Hodgkinson's reportedly been living in Alexandria for the last 2 months. Hodgkinson was outspoken on social media about his dislike for the Trump administration. On March 22nd, he posted, "Trump is a traitor. Trump has destroyed our democracy. Time to destroy Trump and company." A neighbor we spoke with, who asked not to be named, had this to say.
And I'm just afraid politics put him over the edge with the way this country is headed. And he was definitely a big liberal. And I guess when Trump got in, he might have went off the deep end, but never talked to him about politics. And I thought he was a really nice guy.
Hodgkinson supported Bernie Sanders for president and was a volunteer on his campaign in Iowa. Upon hearing the news, Sanders had strong words from the Senate floor.
"I am sickened by this despicable act."
Hodgkinson has a history of run-ins with police, mostly for traffic violations dating back to the 1970s. But in 2006, he was charged with domestic battery and causing bodily harm and damage to a motor vehicle. The cases were eventually dismissed.
Now investigators are trying to determine motive and Hodgkinson's mental state and if he shared his intentions with anyone else. Live in the newsroom, Lisa Fletcher, ABC 7 News.
Lisa, thank you. Now, Alexandria's police chief says that first responders arrived at that ball field within 3 minutes of that first 911 call. At least 2 of the people who were shot were taken to MedStar Hospital Center, and that's where D.C. Bureau Chief Sam Ford joins us now from. Sam?
Yes, Nancy. Well, the condition of Congressman Steve Scalise is critical. According to the latest report here at MedStar, they said he was shot in the hip and underwent surgery here this morning. The U.S. Capitol Police, dressed military style, arrived with their assault rifles, presumably to provide additional security for the congressman. The hospital said another shooting victim brought here is in good condition. It could be a special agent, Crystal Griner, shot in the ankle, according to a statement from U.S. Capitol Police during this battle with the shooter. The statement said that another special agent, David Bailey, was treated and released from a hospital for a minor injury. Again, there is no confirmation that Griner is the second patient here, and here they haven't actually said, but definitely here is Congressman Scalise, who is in critical condition. The FBI, in its statement, also said that another member of Congress suffered minor injury, but they did not say the degree that was or where that person was treated. Reporting live from Northwest Washington, I'm Sam Ford, ABC 7 News.
All right, Sam, thanks very much. I'm back now live at the field here at Simpson Field in Alexandria, and you can see FBI investigators. They were going shoulder to shoulder a second ago. They are covering every square inch, not only of the ball field, but just past the fence towards the third baseline and the dugout. They are looking for every piece of evidence as they try and retrace the steps, not only of the gunman, but the 2 Capitol Police officers who came running from the parking lot shooting at this gunman. The gunman had a rifle. They had pistols. Clearly, he had the advantage for range with the rifle. But one of those officers, even after being shot, was able to fire a shot in excess of 50 yards, hitting the gunman in the chest and bringing this to an end. Nancy?
Just absolutely incredible, Jonathan. Now, reaction to today's shooting has been coming in from all corners of the world, including from former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, who took to Twitter in the minutes after the shooting, in the hours after the shooting, I should say, and posted to Twitter this. I'm going to read it to you. She posted, "My heart is with my former colleagues, their families and staff, and the U.S. Capitol Police, public servants and heroes today and every day." Now, of course, you remember Giffords was shot in the head when a man opened fire as she met with constituents in Arizona 6 years ago. 6 people died in that attack. Also, Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi, among many, praising Capitol Police for their actions today. She also paid tribute to 2 officers who died during a shooting almost 2 decades ago.
I want us to remember that every single day, the Capitol Police protects all of us, takes risk for us. And while a day like this is a time when we can focus on it, so sadly, it doesn't mean that other days aren't as challenging. And I especially want to call attention to Detective John Gibson and Officer Jacob Chestnut, who almost 19 years ago, 1988 it was, in July, lost their lives protecting the Congress, the Capitol.
And today, the heroics of the Capitol Police playing out yet again. 2 officers, both of them wounded in the gunfight, and both of them coming away, taking this gunman down from a long distance with just a pistol. Now, obviously, one of those Capitol Police officers at last check was released from the hospital. That is very good news. The other 4 people, including the majority whip, are still in the hospital. He was last listed in critical condition. But right now, at WJLA.com, our webpage, if you were to go there, you're going to find something we put up there. You can see the whole video of that gunfight. Somebody was rolling and recording, and you can hear it. You can also find out if one of the congressmen on that field, who is now maybe changing his mind about gun control after what he went through today. That's very latest out here in Alexandria. For now, though, let's go back into the studio. Allison?
Okay, Jonathan and Nancy, thanks to both of you, and we'll check back in with you soon. Now to some other news today, and we are tracking developing news on the West Coast as well, where a gunman opened fire at a UPS delivery warehouse in San Francisco. 6 people were shot there, and 3 of them are dead, including the gunman. A spokesman says the shooter was an employee, and it's believed he turned the gun on himself. Police are working to figure out the motive here. We're going to keep you posted as we find out more.
7's on Stormwatch tonight as some storms pop up around our area. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hill is tracking them from the Stormwatch 7 Weather Center. Doug.
Hey, Larry, for the 4th day in a row, we hit the 90-degree marker higher in Washington until the cold front came through. Now we're starting to settle down. Still a few showers and thunderstorms popping south of the metro area, but most of the day the activity has been and will remain well south and southwest of metro Washington. So a few showers here, a few showers along Route 1 I-95 corridor, but the majority of them well to the west. So for the planner tomorrow, a little cooler day, 83, partly cloudy skies, just maybe an isolated storm. Same kind of deal into Friday, and then the warm up and the heat and humidity return for the Father's Day weekend. We'll check that out in a few minutes for you, Allison.
Okay, Doug, thank you. And coming up here at 5, fallout in Flint. Find out who's facing manslaughter charges after the city's water was contaminated.
All I could hear was screams, help, get me out.
Plus that dramatic fire in London, what investigators have learned about it so far.
And messages of love along Mount Vernon Avenue. How Del Rey has dealt with this violence. We'll explain in a live report coming up.
Unreal. Unreal. I've been here for close to 20 years. Never have any problems. You barely hear police sirens.
Absolute shock tonight from a lot of the people living in the Delray section of Alexandria, where 5 people, including a U.S. congressman, were shot this morning.
Well, Nancy, this is a very bucolic area. This is about as idyllic a position you could have or a location to raise a family, very quiet. You heard the guy say they rarely hear sirens here. So when neighbors heard gunshots this morning, at first they thought maybe it was some sort of construction accident. But when the shots just didn't stop, they knew exactly what was happening. And now, behind me, you can see FBI agents are still scouring every inch of this field looking for more bullet casings from this morning's shootout. Now, Richard Reeve is joining us live. And Richard, you spent the day talking to neighbors in this neighborhood. They must be absolutely floored with what played out this morning in their neighborhood.
Jonathan, a lot of folks seem shell-shocked, almost a state of disbelief about this violence. But take a look at this along Mount Vernon Avenue. Messages of love here, even after this difficult day. A heavy police presence, crime scene tape at a playground, and the unfamiliar sound of gunshots.
I heard a bunch of what appeared to be shots. Pow, 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 pow.
So loud that Gaver Nichols heard the gunfire over the roar of his lawnmower. 30 to 50 shots in rapid succession.
You don't want to get shot just to mow your grass. So you stop the mower, you go into a building, so if a bullet does come through a wall, at least you got some protection.
This morning's violence, all very unfamiliar territory for this quiet Alexandria neighborhood.
When you have these acts of violence, it calls for prayer.
Along Murrow, now blocked off by police, Father John Roddy decided to continue on with his midday mass, needed now more than ever, he says.
I told them to pray for everyone, to pray for all who are concerned, and we even pray for the people who perpetrated the act.
On the streets near Simpson Stadium Park, you'll see signs like this. And along hot sidewalks, residents have left coolers that simply say free water.
I think people coming together is a good start.
Along Mount Vernon Avenue, this public art project called SOAR is attracting messages of love after so much violence.
I don't know how we come back from it. I mean, we have to get together and unite.
Two different events happening this evening along Mount Vernon Avenue. First, a neighborhood walk beginning in my location here, and then just down the street, first responders, members of Congress, and staff will be doing a run walk to honor those police officers who were wounded today. Reporting live, Richard Reeve, ABC 7 News.
We're watching the latest developments now from London after that deadly fire ripped through a high-rise apartment building there overnight. Today, government officials have ordered inspections at other buildings in that area that are undergoing renovations. That's after concerns that material installed during a recent remodel at this building helped that fire spread quicker. Witnesses report hearing people screaming for help, one woman even throwing her child to safety.
And the baby, I think, was wrapped in some sort of bed sheet blanket, and she threw the baby as the baby came down, and this was about approximately from the 9th or 10th floor. A member of the public, a gentleman, ran forward and miraculously grabbed the baby.
12 people were killed, at least 70 others hurt, and official cause still under investigation tonight.
And even though the cold front came through this afternoon, it still remained very hot and humid, got in the lower 90s for the 4th straight day. Now things starting to change a little bit. A rather cloudy look now looking live at National Harbor. No rain locally, but rain not far from the metro area as the front continues to sink south. Notice the influence of east-northeasterly winds is pushing the rain as it develops to the south and southwest. So Stafford, a little downpour now, a few more crossing the Potomac in Charles County, but there are numerous showers and storms. The heavier ones now over the northwest side of Richmond. Again, all the action down to the southwest. So I suppose the next hour or so until sunset, we could see an additional pop-up shower. Most of the activity staying away from the area and temperatures eventually cooling off a bit overnight. But right now it still feels like 93 in Leesburg and Warrenton, feels like 97 in Culpeper, feels like 90 degrees in Washington and 91 in Annapolis. So through the evening, we'll go from partly to mostly cloudy time. Still very warm and muggy as we only slowly drop later tonight in the upper 70s. Our futurecast has a pretty good handle on the movement of these showers as they pretty much diminish overnight. We'll be partly cloudy. I think we could see a touch of fog in the morning. Then I think we'll break into some sunshine during the day. Watch for a few more showers tomorrow afternoon. The majority should be just west of the metro area. And then as we head into the day Friday, it looks like the cold front's going to come back as a warm front and another chance, probably increasing chances of afternoon showers and thunderstorms moving through the area. After that, as we head into the Father's Day weekend, temperatures will rise, humidity levels will rise, but we'll keep the daily chance of showers and storms. So over the next 48 hours, about 70 overnight, a little morning fog, 83 tomorrow and Friday, and again chances of isolated showers west of town tomorrow and a better chance of thunderstorms area-wide on Friday. The weekend, 86 Saturday, scattered storms. Father's Day, hot and humid 92 with afternoon showers and thunderstorms. And finally, a look at the next 10 days here as the numbers stay down for a couple days, then head up. Very warm and muggy on Monday, but a better chance of storms as another cold front comes in, and that'll kind of only drop the temperatures a few degrees. We're going to be into the third week of June, so it's kind of hard to keep the temperatures down. But you see summer arrives on the first day of on next Wednesday, first day of summer. Still be in the upper 80s near 90 on Friday with more showers and storms. So a very summery pattern.
Right.
Remember, it's just only a month or so ago when a cold front would come through, we'd really cool off for a bit. Not so much anymore.
No.
Summer's
A lot
here.
of people missing those days.
Yep.
That's right.
Okay, thank you. And we want to tell you about 4 big birthdays today. The oldest, the U.S. Army, which was formed 242 years ago today. 2 years later, Congress adopted the Stars and Stripes as the official flag of this country. And then, not quite as old, but very significant, today, not Doug, but President Donald Trump. He is 71, and Maryland Congressman Steny Hoyer is 78.
All right. Well, still ahead tonight, while the Trump administration is putting off a deadline on changing nutrition labels.
But first, here's what's coming up tonight on ABC 7. Developing now, a substitute teacher charged with arranging to have sex with a minor, Hatim Abdelrahman, arrested last night in the Herndon area. He is a substitute teacher in the Fairfax County school system. Tonight, investigators are asking anyone with information to come forward.
It's the second full day of jury deliberations in the Bill Cosby sexual assault trial. This afternoon, the entire testimony from Cosby's accuser was read back to jurors at their request. Cosby faces up to 10 years in prison on each count if convicted.
And we are tracking new developments in the Flint water crisis today. 5 people who work for the city or the state have been charged in the death of an 85-year-old man. Now, the head of Michigan's health department is among the 5 now facing involuntary manslaughter charges. That's because the man who died had Legionnaire's disease, which has been linked to the poisoned water supply.
After allegedly being informed of the growing Legionella situation in Flint, Nick Line failed to inform the public of this health threat, a threat which cost the life of Robert Skidmore.
The other 4 officials are already facing other charges. Michigan Attorney General says he is not charging Governor Snyder because right now they have no evidence against him.
The Food and Drug Administration has indefinitely postponed next year's planned overhaul of nutrition labels. Now, the goal of the revised labels was to make serving sizes more realistic. The new labels would also include the sugars added to food and drinks. Now, the Trump administration says companies need more time to comply. There's no word when or if these rules will take effect.
After today's shooting, members of Congress say it's important that their baseball game go on as scheduled tomorrow night. I'm Tom Rousey. I'll have that story coming straight up.
And with regard to that Alexandria shooting, we are awaiting new information from the FBI, and we'll also tell you the story of those hero police being credited with saving lives.
The emotional shock of seeing your friend shot, where you're helpless. You have a baseball bat, they have a rifle, you're defenseless.
Absolute chaos playing out this morning on the ball field behind me. This is where representatives from both the House and Senate, Republicans out here practicing for a big game that's going to take place tomorrow night at Nats Park. Just after 7 o'clock when that practice was ongoing, they were taking batting practice. Some guy who was over here by the third baseline, he was outside the fence, had asked somebody, hey, are these Republicans or Democrats playing? They said Republicans. Went back to a sack he had lying on the ground, pulled out a long rifle, and he opened fire. One of those that was hit was the second baseman. That was the majority whip, Steve Scalise. He was hit in the hip and dropped on the ground, crawled himself to the outfield to try and get distance away from that gunman. Also, Capitol Police officers Crystal Griner and David Bailey, they came from the parking lot, opened fire on that gunman. Both of them were hit. We know that lobbyist Matt Mika and Zachary Barth, both of them were hit. Barth, by the way, is on Congressman Roger Williams' staff. Right now, we are standing by for a press briefing from the FBI that will give us the very latest on what is happening as far as this investigation goes. But as for the gunman, James Hodgkinson, we understand the 66-year-old was confronted by those Capitol Police officers and he was shot to death.